1st of July the transition happens, suddenly the regime is going to change. So whatever taxes have been paid, whatever taxes are in transition, the stocks, the services on which tax has already been paid, they move into the GST regime. So the CFOs and everybody within the corporate have to really get themselves prepared to see that there is no loss of revenue, there is minimal business disruption. As a matter of fact, no business disruption. On day one, everybody is compliant and able to carry on the business as it was on the last day of the service tax or the VAT or the excise regime. So there are huge changes which are happening, and transition is going to be hugely crucial. There's going to be a sudden surge in working capital requirements. There will be going to be opportunities, and if those opportunities and the transition is not done properly, then there will be a hit on the bottom line of a lot of corporates. So a lot of opportunities, challenges, threats exist in these transition regime of the GST, and that really everybody need to really see that and get prepared for that. More likely than not, the smaller businesses are not going to be ready on day one. See, the level of awareness is low. The states have yet to begin creating awareness. They are now beginning to create awareness. The center has worked towards creating a lot of awareness. There are promotional activities which are happening, training schedules which are being there. The professionals are training themselves, getting trained. A lot of that is happening, and the whole the economic environment, the professionals in that area are getting geared to work with the small and the medium and the bigger corporates. But the smaller industry themselves do not have an awareness. They still see it as a mere tax change, and that at some point of time they may have to, instead of paying a service tax, they may have to pay a GST, or instead of paying an excise or a VAT, they'll have to pay a GST. But this is a bigger change than that, and that's the more complex a business. If a person is providing a business, has a small shop in one city, his complexity is obviously lower. So he may have to change invoices, he may have to change certain parts of his business and business processes to be compliant. But more importantly, everything is going to be online. And the whole success of this depends that if you can match credits, match invoices, do your compliance on time. And that the smaller business cannot escape. Compliance waiting is going to be a hugely complicated scenario going forward. You have to realize that a person or a company is doing everything right, taking the credits rightly. And then they suddenly realize that the compliance rating of the company from which they are buying for has gone down below a certain level, and the credits are not available. So it's a huge issue, and it's something which you really cannot do about. And compliance rating, the rules are yet to come out as to what would determine the compliance rating. A lot of it would be like today's risk assessment scenario, where it is dependent on the amount of litigation you have. My worry is that in the GST scenario, there is going to be a lot of litigation, because there is going to be a lot of interpretations of law which would happen, and any new law, and a law which is as complex as a GST, and with 29 states really looking at the law, and 7 union territories, plus the central government, various commissionerates of central government looking at it, it's going to be really complicated, and litigation is natural. Would any litigation on the basis of interpretation of taxation impact my credit rating? If that is the case, then the worry of the India Inc. is really justified. VAT or CST is payable on the goods. Accordingly, you procure from places where you can get a lower tax rate, and it may be a decision may be dependent on it may be within state or outside the state. Going forward, that doesn't matter. Any supplies across the states there would be a tax on that, whether there is a consideration or not, whether it's within the state or not. So tax goes out of the equation, and there will be much more free flow of goods across the borders. That's one thing which will impact the logistics sectors a lot. The routine chungi nakas are set to go away, and they are going to be replaced by e-way bills. E-way bills, right now the rules which have been put in the public domain are complex. They would create issues out there. But wherever there is a threat or wherever there is a risk, there is an opportunity out there to really manage e-way bills in a way which would make logistics, which would make transportation easier for the companies.